Hello, my name is Dr. John Sopola, and I'm going to play for you the all-state solo for baritone saxophone from the Gatti book, number 12. Half note equals 63. So there are a few things to talk about here. Number one, on baritone saxophone, what I suggest is a couple of things for the reeds. Van Doren makes some very excellent reeds, and the mouthpieces also make a big difference. So if the instrument you're playing on is a school instrument and it's not responding so well, especially in the low notes, number one, get the instrument looked at by a good repair technician. Number two, just check to see if the mouthpiece is in good shape, and by all means get a good reed. So Van Doren, probably a number 3 reed would be a good one. Secondly, this is in half note, it gets the pulse. So we want to make sure that we're actually subdividing our 16th notes. So if this is the pulse for a half note, there are 4 eighth notes in a half note, 1 E and 2 E, and we want to have 16th notes be double that. 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and so the first 2 bars would be da, 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 bum. So you want to take that F sharp and really divide it up so that the G sharp comes out at the end on the proper beats. Good. One mistake I just made, I didn't play the dynamics, so that was the other thing I was going to mention to you, is that make sure that you contrast your dynamics. So that will be a real big separator here in these auditions. Now, make sure that when you get to that second section on the G sharp, that we have a forte, we have a piano after that, 2 bars later, or bar and a half, and then a pianissimo. So the difference between a forte and a pianissimo may not be drastic, but just make it notable. Don't make the soft too soft, because otherwise your pianissimo, when you have your triplets, will not be able to even have enough volume to speak. So make the piano just a little softer than the forte. Now soft. Now articulation, let's talk about that on the saxophone. Number one, let's talk about embouchure. I like to say the letter V, and when I say V and just let the saxophone fall into my mouth, pulling the neck strap high enough, now we have a very natural looking formation. So whatever your natural formation of your jaw position and lips are, we're just going to kind of pull them back a little bit and a little bit firm corners. So we don't want to have really any distortion of rolling the lip too much under, rolling it out too much, no creasing of the lip like this, just mostly flush and like a little shelf that the mouthpiece rests on. The second thing, articulation. On alto saxophone, generally speaking, you use the tip of your tongue against the bottom side of the tip of the reed. Tenor saxophone, depending on the styles of music you can play, you might be playing, you might actually be using a little bit farther back on the tongue as well to make contact with the reed. And on the baritone saxophone, I definitely use various parts of my tongue depending on how the volume that I'm looking to express, and also depending on the type of articulation. Is it a harsh articulation or a soft? So I find that the open C sharp comes out a little easier for me if I'm a little bit farther back on my tongue. And if I put the tongue, place it gently on the reed, blow my air, and then gently pull the tongue away, that seems to be a good, reliable articulation, rather than doing all of that in one motion where you tongue the note and blow the air at the same time. So preparation first. Oops, I have a key down here. So there's a little split second before the note speaks. Let's go down to the triplets later on. The eighth note triplets. Make sure that we feel the pulse of, here's the half note, 1, 1 and 2 and we want to have our triplets coming in on the upbeat. 1, triplet, 2, triplet, 1, triplet, 2. Okay, and we'll be able to practice shifting the gears, I call it, between triplets and the duples and the triples. So we have our duples, meaning when we have our 16th notes, dum, da dum, da dum, which in reality is daka 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 dum, da dum, da dum, all sets of twos. Okay. Now with the triplets, we want to make sure that we still feel the duple, meaning the downbeat, upbeat, 1 and 2 and, but within those downbeats and upbeats, we're feeling the triplets. Down, triplet, down, triplet. And this is another section where I find I use farther back on my tongue to articulate. So pay attention to dynamics, get a good read, make sure your horn is in good working order, practice counting this out loud so that you're able to play it at a good solid tempo, and enjoy it and play musically, and I wish you all good luck.